You know it's going to be a good day when you've got ink on your fingers. Hi stampers, welcome to fancyforstampin.com. I'm Adamson-Cauler. Today I'm going to show you how to make these cards. They seem to be all the rage right now. They're called split lattice cards. And let me just show you how this one works. Both work the same way, but you open it up and it folds down. I think these are the neatest things since sliced bread. And I really like bread. So I'm going to get busy here showing you how to do this. This one is a Mother's Day card because we have that coming up and I still have my mother around. I'm blessed to have her around. She'll be 92 years old the Friday after Mother's Day. So I'm not going to send her a similar card for Mother's Day, but I will be there for midweek between Mother's Day and her birthday so that I can help her celebrate. All right, so these are the things that you are going to need. You're going to need a piece of DSP that measures 4 1/4 by 3 1/4 inches. A piece of this is Flirty Flamingo cardstock that is 3/4 by 3 inches. A piece of Whisper White, or not Whisper White, I'm sorry, it's not Whisper White anymore, it's Basic White. Old habits die hard. Piece of Basic White cardstock that's 4 1/4 by 6 inches long, and it is scored, will be scored at the 1/2 inch mark on the short edge. And we also need a piece of 4 1/4, oh, there it is, 4 1/4 by 11 inch cardstock, Basic White, scored at 5 1/2 in the middle with the long edge of the cardstock up at the top. And then you're going to need scraps of, I have Early Espresso, White, Fresh Freesia, Balmy Blue, Flirty Flamingo, Daffodil Delight, Mossy Meadow, and a piece of vellum, okay? I'm not going to be cutting out anything today because I've got everything already pre-cut. Okay, and of course I have to drop things on the floor while I'm doing this. Okay, the ink we are using is Flirty Flamingo and Early Espresso. So if you want to pull those out and work with me, you can. I also used on this card the Dainty Delights Stampin' Cut and Emboss dies, and one of the dies from the Something Fancy die set. And I used a stamp, this stamp from Irresistible Blooms, and still available in the mini, the pastel adhesive back sequence. Okay, so let me see. Let me pick this mess up off of the floor. All right. And we will get started. Oh, and let me also show you. These are the dies that I used. This is from the Something Fancy dies, and the rest are from Dainty Delights. Okay, so let's get started. The most important thing, you can decorate this type of card any way you want. The most important thing is getting the cutting down right. You're going to need your paper trimmer. So we've got our 4 1/4 by 11 inch piece of cardstock, and I start by scoring it at 5 1/2. So we have a piece of cardstock that we cut just like we're making a regular 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 cardstock, or greeting card, and we fold it, okay? And then we also have the 4 1/4 by 6 inch cardstock, okay, with the long edge up at the top. I am going to score this on a short edge at 1/2 inch. And I'll fold that over. I'll crisp up these creases here in a minute, and I'll set that aside. Okay, so now with my card base again, long edge up at the top, I am going to cut off of one short edge 6 1/2 inch pieces of cardstock. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and we can get rid of the paper trimmer. We are finished with that. So let me get my bone folder and crisp up the crease here on this score line. So I'm left with this and 6 strips of cardstock cut off from the edge. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is we need to anchor this card base so that it doesn't move around while we're working. And you can use the, I like to use up at the top here to hold that end in place. I like to use a sticky note. And then I have a strip of painter's tape here, or you could use a strip of adhesive sheets that are in the catalog. But I don't have any of those, so painter's tape works just as well. Now you just want to put a little bit under the end there. Sticky side up, because you don't want to push down too hard on that, because it has a tendency to tear the cardstock. Okay, so we've got this piece sticky side up. Well, we had that piece sticky side up. I need another smaller piece here. So this is reusable. I've reused this piece a few times. So sticky side up, attach it to the back of the front flap, and we'll lay it down like that. And then I'm just going to anchor that there so it doesn't move. Okay, and I lined it up on my grid lines because those grid lines are going to come in handy here shortly. Okay, so I start up at the top. Some people start down here lining up with the bottom, but I start up at the top about 1/4 inch. This is where the grid lines come in handy. 1/4 inch from this bottom edge. I just line them up, okay? Just lay them across that piece of painter's tape. You don't want to push down because it'll stick too much to the back of that strip, and then it'll tear the paper when you remove it. Okay, so we're going to put 4 down this way, 1/4 inch apart, lining up with the edge of the card and the grid lines. That's the second. And the third. Okay, now I'm not going to add the fourth yet, and I'll show you why. So we got 3 down there. Now I need my liquid glue. This is my liquid glue holder. These are multi-purpose. I mean, you don't need them just for one thing. So, and we're going to put a small dot of glue starting on the top flap. I'm going to take one of these leftover strips, and we will, about 1/4 inch from this edge, using the grid lines again, put that down there, just like that. Okay? Push that down. We'll do the same with the other side. Just a small dot, because we don't need that much. I tried using other adhesive and the strips came apart, so I have to stand up. 1/4 inch from the edge And the beauty of this liquid glue is that once you put a piece of paper down on it, before it dries, you can move it around. Okay, so I could have put that other piece there, and this piece would have come over the top of it, but I prefer having this behind this last strip at the bottom of the card. So now I'm going to put a dot of glue. And I'm finished with that for now. And lining it up with the edge and the bottom edge of the back of the card, just like that. Okay, now that has to sit to dry. If I pick this up now, all of those pieces are going to move. So we're just going to let that sit there and let it dry. I made pre-assembled another card backing so the other one can dry. I just have it, it's underneath my stack of grid sheets. Okay, so now we have this, and these hanging past the bottom of the card, which are going to need to be cut off. But before I do that, I want to attach this piece to the back of the card, and this is how I do it. The 1/2 inch is going to be glued to the bottom back of this card base. So I like to line it up as best I can, check it out, eyeball it, make sure everything looks good, it's in there straight. Okay, and once I think it's good to go, I'm going to put it down flat like that, and I'm going to run a little glue, liquid glue, right there, and fold this over. Okay, so there we have our card that opens up. All right, we still need to cut these off. You can snip them, turn it over and snip them with a pair of paper snips, or you can use your paper trimmer. I like to use my paper trimmer because whenever I use the paper snips, I always do it crooked. So I'm going to just butt the bottom edge of this card up to the cut line there, fold that over, and cut. And it's still a little too long, so I need to scoot it over just a little, just a hair. There's just a sliver more that needs to come off. Okay, there we go. That looks good to me. Let's see how it looks from the front. Not bad at all, if I do say so myself. Okay, all that's left now is to decorate. I took the liberty of pre-cutting all of the pieces that we will need to decorate this card. Got one that's trying to get away from me. And I put them in an envelope here. Okay, so we're going to set that off to the side. I'm using a silicone craft sheet. Well, this one is pretty messy. I need to clean it off. And I'm going to put it under there because we're going to be using, between the card front and the back, we're going to be using some liquid glue, and I don't want to glue the flowers to the back of the card. So that's there just for protection. Okay, we're going to start with this green piece from the Dainty Dies, or Dainty Delight Dies. And I'm just going to layer the vellum over the top of the offset piece of Mossy Meadow, and I need some liquid glue. And I'm going to just add a drop down here, like so. and put this on there. Oh, I think I need a little more glue, and I didn't put it in the quite right spot. Okay. Yeah, a little more glue right here underneath the two. A little more for my vellum. There. Yeah, well, things never work the way you want them to work when you want them to work. Let's put a little bit up here. I sort of like these flopping around up there, though. There we go. Now I got it. I think I got it. Good thing this glue dries clear because there's more than I need down there. So we'll hold that in place for a little while. Where's my take your pick tool? I'll just hold it in place with this for a second. Maybe, maybe not. Cooperate. Cooperate with me. You're supposed to cooperate with me. Okay? Slide this down a little there. Okay. So while that's drying, I'm going to take my flower. All right, I know I cut a vellum piece out for the flower that I lost. Of course, I lost it because I'm doing a video, so if it can go wrong, it will, right? Oh, here it is. I found it. Sort of blending in there. Okay, and we're layering vellum on the bottom here and the green flower on the top. Right over where we just glued. So let me put another drop of glue there, as if there isn't enough. Right there. Just like that. There we go. Come on. I don't use this glue too often because I can't stand it when it gets stuck all over my fingers. But, yeah. There we go. Where's my take your pick? My pick. Is it a take your pick? Whatever it is. It's poker on one end and adhesive on the other. Okay, we got that. We got those in place, and those need to dry, but we're not going to wait for them to dry. I'm going to get my mini glue dots, wherever they may be. Here they are. And I'm going to start adding my flowers to the back, to the front of this card. Starting with a Daffodil Delight, a mini glue dot, right there on the back, not a glue dot, a mini dimensional, and it goes right down here near where we have all this glue. There, right there. That's going to help hold everything down too. Okay, and then we have Balmy Blue Daisy. And that's going to go right about there. That's going to help hold that in place, that green piece. And our Flirty Flamingo. Right about here. Okay, now I attached the centers to these flowers with mini glue dots. And where did I put those? There, right here. And this is how I did it. I used the adhesive side, and I put it over a glue dot, and then I flipped it around because I tried picking it up and I ripped a few and just put it over the middle. Okay, now I'm definitely missing a center, but I think I have an extra one of those somewhere. Let me flip this around. We don't want it to be upside down. Okay, I can't flip it around. Here we go. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to stamp the splotches, but we can still do that. We'll be able to do that. All right, and I have another center over here. Whoops. There we go. Put that on there. Okay, and that's done. All right, next thing we need to do is stamp our sentiment. I'm not going to make another Mother's Day card. I'm going to make another happy birthday card because we can always use a happy birthday card. And my early espresso ink, I pre-cut the label with the Something Fancy label die. That's this one. And using the Something Fancy stamp set, I'm going to stamp Happy Birthday on this little label. Let's see if I can do that without making a mess. Oh, see, I already made a mess. I got ink on the front of that, so let's just flip it over. There we go. Could be centered a little better, but it's okay. Okay. So we stamp that on there, and we're going to back it with this piece of 3/4 by 3 inch Flirty Flamingo. So we can put a little bit of liquid glue on the back of there, or any other adhesive you might want to use. And we're just going to put that in the middle there, like so. And then we're going to have to trim the edges with our snips. So you just want to eyeball it. And that looks good. Okay. Then we go back to our mini dimensionals. And I use 3 on this, and I put them very close to the edge. Doesn't matter whether you put 2 at the top or 2 at the bottom and 1 at the other side. On the other side, it doesn't matter. I just used 3. I put them real close to the edge because it's going to go between the 2 pickets on the fence. Or lattice, whatever you want to call it. I did say it was a split lattice card, so. Come on. There we go. This goes right about there. I'll have to lift it up to make sure. Yeah, I did good. The dimensionals don't go past the rail. Okay, so we got that on. Next thing, open it up. Piece of DSP, because we have DSP backing here. Where did I put? Here's my DSP. And whatever adhesive you want to use. For expediency's sake, I'm going to use this. We're just going to put some adhesive on there. And we'll line it up with the bottom edge of the card. Okay, and now also from the Something Fancy stamp set, I like to stamp in there, grateful for the everyday magic of you, in Early Espresso. Where'd I put my pad? There it is. Early Espresso ink. All right. I need to stand up so I can make sure this is going to be straight. Let's turn the stamp around the way it's supposed to go. And that looks straight to me. Good. Good job. Good job, Joes. Good job. Okay, there's one more thing we need to do on the front. Couple more things, actually. I used the dragonfly dies, and I cut a little dragonfly out of Fresh Freesia cardstock. I love this color. It's really pretty. It's so dainty. Yes, it is. Okay, and I'm going to use a glue dot here on the back of the dragonfly. And I'm just going to add it to the bottom corner right there. Okay, last thing. Our pastel backed sequins. We need to scatter some of these all over the card. If I can get them out of the wrapper, we will do that. And I'm going to start with one right here. And here. And we can put this one right there. There. Oh, and we need a couple on our dragonfly. So I'm going to use some of these smaller ones on the dragonfly. Gold and a pink. Pretty. Yes, it is. All right, so we got that done. And the splotches. Shame on me. Should have done that before we put all the flowers on. But sometimes I just don't work logically. I just work. Okay, so in Flirty Flamingo ink, we don't want a lot on here. So we're going to do the top. We're going to keep the card folded closed the way it is. And we're just going to put a splotch there. And here. And then I'll open this up. And we're going to put some down there. Right about right there. There. That's enough. Just to give it some oomph. So, there we go. A split lattice card. Wasn't that easy? Most of the time is in the preparation. So you just open it up and open it up again, and you can write whatever you want in here, or you can stamp something else in here if you want. You could put some DSP in there. You could stamp a few splotches or some flowers, whatever you want to do. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. And I got some ink on my fingers, so I think today is going to be a beautiful day. I hope you enjoyed your visit. Come back again. Go to my blog and you can see a list of all of the supplies that I used. And there's a link at the bottom that'll take you to my online store. Until next time, happy stamping!